You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. All right, it's a new week, first day of the week. And, of course, they got some new scheme to try. Well, they've got several schemes to try to bring Trump down. They got a new line book out, and I got a couple articles about it, and I thought we'd go through them. This just really burns me. Maggie Haberman is the author. She's not one of these famous authors, but she is a New York Times writer and does some things on CNN, so Trump-hating organizations. And this is about Trump. There's things in the book about Trump flushing things down the toilet. Remember those? Remember those? Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. Well, let me read. Let's go through this article. There's two articles about this book of lies, okay? Images allegedly depicting Donald Trump's toilet clogged with torn up pieces of paper have emerged after the former president denied claims he would flush official documents during his time in the White House. I have not read this story, okay? I've read the headline. I know what it's about. I'm reading this cold with you so I can experience this. Maggie Haberman.
We can experience it together.
That's it, right. That's right. Maggie Haberman, a New York Times White House correspondent who will probably be a guest on every show there is.
Yep, that's why they do it.
You know, the only way you can get books published is if you tell fantastical stories about Donald Trump, who closely followed Trump during his presidency for an upcoming book. Yeah, Trump was just letting the New York Times just follow him closely. The fake news, right? Claimed to have obtained photographs of presidential notes stuffed into the resident toilet from a former White House official who worked under the previous administration. Now, first off,
give me a break.
If he's Trump said he didn't put anything down the toilet. I believe Trump. That's ridiculous, you know. But if he's making notes, how many times do I make notes, or I'm writing something, I make a mistake, I tear it up, I throw it away? They're making it sound like because he threw these things away, forgetting the toilet thing, he broke the law because these are official presidential documents, official government documents that he destroyed. If that's a problem, what about Nancy Pelosi tearing up the State of the Union and throwing it all over the place? Those are government papers, too.
Well, plus she could just stuff a bunch of papers in her toilet.
Exactly.
I mean, and take a picture. I mean, who the hell knows whose toilet is? Well, all toilets look the same. Unless it's his gold toilet at Mar-a-Lago, all toilets pretty much look the same.
This toilet's not gold.
That's what I'm saying.
So it can't be
all
Trump's.
Toilets pretty much look the same. Mm-hmm. So she could shove papers. Remember when Dan Rather faked a document? The people in the news do this crap all the time. She could have just taken a bunch of papers and shoved them down the toilet and taken a picture.
That's possible.
Oh, my
goodness. The images published by Axios. You know, you guys out there, is Axios liberal or conservative? I don't want to hear anything that they're nonpartisan.
I'm going to go to their website.
No one's not. Because sometimes I read things at Axios that, okay, that's interesting. I like that. And then a lot of times I read stuff like this.
Yeah.
The images published by Axios on Monday showed two sets of notes in the toilets, one of which is said to be located in a White House bathroom, the other in an undisclosed location abroad during a foreign presidential trip, though the papers appear to be handwritten rather than official documents.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, those are the pictures.
This is ridiculous.
The presidential toilet.
First of all, this could be anybody's toilet.
Looks like a cheap toilet.
And
both of them, they're two different toilets, Kathy.
Yeah, they're two different toilets.
One's abroad and one's in the White House.
And it's got, all it has is names on it, Rogers and Stefanik.
That could be anyone's toilet.
And it could be anything.
I don't buy that.
Destroying records that should be preserved is potentially illegal.
Well, let me read the article here.
This shows you
the
desperation of the left.
Yeah.
They've resorted themselves to ripping up papers and throwing them in their own toilet. Think about this. Think of the visual of this. The desperation of the left to do something like this, to try to jam him up.
Yep.
Give me a
One
break.
of the ripped up papers on top of a stack in the toilet shows what appears to be lawmakers' names scrawled down in all capital letters in black Sharpie.
Whatever.
Two names can be seen clearly, Rogers and Stefanik,
right.
Although the rest of the torn-up papers are mostly illegible. Illegible.
Illegible, yeah. This is stupid.
I'm speaking as well as Biden today.
Yes, you are.
It's unlikely the names are referencing Republican Representative Mike Rogers of Alabama and GOP Conference Chairwoman Elise Stefanik.
Putting the article in your Facebook group.
Okay.
If anybody wants to look at it, it's ridiculous.
A Trump spokesperson told Axios, you have to be pretty desperate to sell books if pictures of paper and a toilet bowl is part of your promotional plan. There's enough people willing to fabricate stories like this in order to impress the media class, a media class who is willing to run with anything as long as it is anti-Trump, he added.
And let me tell you, these when you look at these images, it is obvious they were placed in there right before the picture was taken because I mean, this person, if they got pictures this good and they're very look like high def, they would have to go in the bathroom right after Trump put them in there. They'd have to go right in that because none of the ink is smudged at all. Yeah. It's completely perfectly preserved. And they have these names. It's just ridiculous. This is obviously staged.
Yeah.
This is a major, really desperate attempt.
Yeah. I mean, give me a break. And so then there's another article.
It's pretty funny.
Okay, that's one article about the toilet. This is like a 10,000-word story on the toilet.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's another article involving the book. President Trump complained. This book is just so credible. President Trump complained that U.S. military generals were not loyal like the Nazis in a series of erratic outbursts that almost caused Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, to resign. 1 week after the riots of June 2020, where Milley, an Army general, came under fire for marching with Trump in uniform toward St. John Church before peeling off as he realized the impropriety of his own presence, the chairman drafted his resignation letter but did not send it. Oh, that's too bad, Milley. You should have sent it. Resigning would have been a highly unusual move, as those of military pros served the nation before any political party. The events, and it goes on to his thing here, the details were provided in the forthcoming book, The Divider, Trump in the White House, from New York Times writer Peter Baker and the New Yorker's Susan Glasser. This is another book. So they got two Trump-hating books out there.
I think they're running out of ideas.
Yeah, why can't my generals be more like the Nazis? Oh, my goodness.
They're running out of ideas. You know, all these other lies have been told. They got to come up with new ones.
Well, I remember when the first
ridiculous
lying Trump book came out. I forgot the guy remember that guy? He wrote this book on Trump. I can't remember his name. And I just so happened, this was a few years ago, I was in a bookstore. That tells you how long ago it was. But there were still bookstores in the beginning of Trump's first term. And I was looking for a book. I couldn't remember what it was. So I went up and asked for help. And these two old ladies came in and asked for the anti-Trump book. They were so excited. They had pre-ordered it.
Oh, my gosh.
They each bought one. They were so excited. It's got everything about Trump in it. You know, these two lying books, the toilet book and Why Can't My Generals Be More Like the Nazis book. Liberals will,
so ridiculous.
This is like food for liberals. Liberals will get these books. They'll treat it like the gospel. They'll read it. They'll have clips of it on the news. CNN will show photographs of this toilet picture. They'll show clips from the book. They'll have the author paraded around. They'll probably have of each of the books.
Liberals, part of Trump derangement syndrome is Trump obsession syndrome. TOS, we'll call it. And you have a caller, I won't say their name, that calls your show all the time, like clockwork, like the first caller every day.
Oh, Louisiana?
Yeah, and this person calls you every day, doesn't miss a show, probably listens to the podcast too. And they admitted something really crazy the other day when they called in, that they were watching CPAC. And I said to you, what kind of a liberal spends the weekend watching CPAC? I thought that was the strangest thing. Here's the deal. I know Brian has to watch liberal news for the show, and sometimes I walk in the room and have to suffer through it myself.
That's true.
But I do not listen to liberal talk show hosts.
Oh, no.
I don't watch Rachel Maddow. I don't understand, and I know you guys don't either, but liberals, I mean, Meryl Streep admitted once on the red carpet, she watches The Five.
Yeah.
On the red carpet, she admitted this, and Greg Gutfeld was all excited.
Sophie's Choice is The Five.
Yeah, what is it about liberals that they are obsessed with Trump. They're obsessed with conservatives.
Oh, that's easy.
And so why is it that these people, they're just so obsessed with
I'll tell you what,
and Trump in particular.
This is why. Liberals like to feel victimized. They like to feel like
superior.
victims. Yeah, but a lot, they like to feel like they're victims, that people disapprove of them, blah, blah, blah. So they listen to conservatives because they think if they listen to conservatives, they'll have their feelings of victimhood justified and validated. That's why. Plus, we're always so much more entertaining than the liberals.
That's for sure. Well, I think they like to feel superior. And I think listening to a show or watching a show or watching CPAC and sitting there talking to or yelling at the television, like, you're wrong, and this makes them feel... They have a superiority complex. That's something they all have in common. And a victim complex, which is a paradigm or a paradox that they feel superior and inferior at the same time.
There's a history of low-rated liberal things, right? Like CNN, MSNBC. But in radio, Air America Radio came out 04, 03, 04, 05 era, and it failed. Remember Al Franken was on it? It didn't last very long. And Air America Radio was a liberal, nationally syndicated radio network. It had Al Franken, Rachel Maddow, Janine Garofalo.
I remember.
Jerry Springer was a part of it for a time, and some other people who I don't remember. Randy Rhoads. You guys remember Randy Rhoads? And it failed. And the reason it failed is because liberal listeners wanted to listen to the conservative shows. They want to. Liberals are angry. They're always angry. They're always consumed with hate.
I think that's a big part of it, too. They want to keep fueling that anger.
They have to listen to us so that they can keep it. It's like fuel to their anger machine.
You're right about that. They like to feel angry. I think that's a big part
liberals
of it.
Are like a coal-powered train, and we're the coal.
I don't like to feel angry, and when I listen to like Rachel Maddow or certain people, you'll be watching a show and they'll throw in some anti-Trump thing, and I'll walk out of the room and I'm like, I'm not watching this. This is ridiculous. I will not watch anything that bashes Trump because it makes me mad. It upsets me, and I don't like to feel that way. But liberals, like you said, they like to feel angry. They're like the Hulk. They like to be angry, I guess.
Yeah.
The Hulk said he's always angry.
Yeah, he's a liberal.
He's a liberal.
Then the
Mark
actors,
Ruffalo, exactly.
The actors are liberal.
He's always pissed off.
Yeah.
Maybe the Hulk represents liberalism.
Maybe. But Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
I wonder if Bill Bixby was a liberal. Probably he's from Hollywood.
Oh, I always loved Bill Bixby.
Yeah, I did too. He's probably a liberal.
He was so great.
Yeah. Well,
sad when he died.
These books that are coming out,
Yeah. They're running out of material.
There are friendly books too, like Jared Kushner's book is coming out and
Peter
things
Navarro.
like that. Yeah. The thing about all these different books, it's these two books now. Why can't my generals be more like Nazis? That should be the title. Right?
I'm surprised it's
why,
not.
Why can't my generals be more like Nazis?
With a big swastika on the
inside the Trump White House. And the toilet book.
Meanwhile, we've never heard that little anecdote before.
No.
The president is surrounded by dozens of people all the time. You've never heard anybody in any book say that he has said that. That's how you know this is BS. They just made this up.
Well, those two books are like cartoons. I mean, those are both
ridiculous.
And the thing about it with these cartoon books, it's hard for them to sell it because we're living through all this. So if these things were going on, they would have been leaked out by Pence or whatever other leakers they had inside the White House under Trump's time, and it's ridiculous. And I liked when Trump talked about the toilet. He's like, you would have a picture of that? Who would go in and do that? And
exactly.
the one toilet, you can see part of the floor, and the wall is kind of scruffed up. I find that hard to believe. That's the White House toilet.
You know what it looks like to me? It looks like a hotel toilet.
Mm-hmm.
They look like hotel toilets.
Yeah.
And the pictures are very high def. And the document inside the toilet, the water's perfectly crystal clear, and the writing is perfectly not. And it's
facing up for the camera.
And one of the ones, it was written with like a felt marker, like a thick marker that would smudge so fast in water, and it was perfectly preserved. So, like I said, What would have to have happened is Trump would have had to put it in the toilet and then gone and gotten somebody and said, take a picture of this writing. Or Trump would have had to take the picture himself, which we know did not happen get it that good.
What I would like Fox or Newsmax to do, they could do this, okay? Take the photograph of the Sharpie written names in the toilet that they claim is the Trump toilet, the first toilet, and do handwriting analysis of it. And put it up against Trump's handwriting, so and ridiculous. I bet you it would not match if you can do handwriting analysis on it. I don't think it would. But think about it.
It's absurd.
This toilet thing, this is from a New York Times celebrated writer. It really tells you how lowbrow and low class in the liberal media are, doesn't it?
And Brian, remember, they gave a Pulitzer Prize to journalists over the Russia hoax.
That's right.
And they did not take those prizes back. They gave out the top prize for journalism to journalists for a fake story that they pushed.
They should take it back.
With zero research, zero evidence. They based it all on tweets and leaks by Hillary Clinton and pushed it out there. She told everybody what to say. She was tweeting it the whole time. Oh, I've heard this. I've heard that. They would run with it. And they gave them Pulitzer Prizes for these BS. The journalism is a joke.
It's an
absolute joke in this country.
Yeah, it is. Now, over the weekend, Kathy and I spent all day watching CPAC on Saturday. Yeah. And we watched on the Fox Nation app. And
but we did miss Steve Bannon.
Yes, but I do have his. I'm going to watch his still.
Oh, good. Yeah, I want to see it. I heard it was really good.
Yeah, I've got the video. I just hadn't had a chance to watch it yet. But before you guys criticize us for watching Fox, listen, I watch everything. I watch everything I can because I want to be informed. I don't want to just listen to but the Fox Nation app, I just want to say this because this is important. It's $5 a month, and we got the Fox Nation app because of that Tucker Carlson special on January 6th, which was very good. They have some good stuff there. Not only did we watch CPAC all day Saturday, which was phenomenal. A few weeks back, they carried all of Turning Point USA in Tampa, Florida, and it was great. It was actually better than going because we got to see everything.
Turning Point USA was really good.
It was excellent, and so was really CPAC this weekend. And they're not advertising with us or anything, guys, but that Fox Nation app, you do get to see some things that you would not get to see. And
I think it's worth getting.
CPAC and Turning Point USA, you might see some of it here and there online, but to actually get to see it live in real time, there were a lot of people that would not be carried on television or you would not see on a feed on social media that we saw there. And it was very, very good. And what I took a lot away from CPAC, also Turning Point, but CPAC this weekend, there are so many MAGA conservatives that hold office and are running for office that have won primaries that we've never heard of that are spectacular.
Oh, yeah. And that's what's good about it. It really introduces you.
Oh, man.
Like Tudor Dixon and that guy from North Carolina, the lieutenant governor, he was great.
Yeah.
It introduces you. I'd never heard of him to these people that you normally don't see on Fox every 5 minutes like Jim Jordan.
I'm planning on going to CPAC in Orlando next year. It's usually around March. Yeah. I don't know if they've actually announced it yet. When and where it is. But I'm thinking of going, and I might talk to the radio station about broadcasting from there. CPAC starts on Thursday, goes through Saturday. Maybe I'll talk to them about broadcasting there on Friday. I might.
That's a good idea.
Or I might go Friday after the show because it's only like 2.5 hours from the radio station.
Yeah.
So I might just do the show Friday morning and then go to CPAC and experience it Friday night and Saturday night and come home Sunday. But I do plan on going. And those of you that are in Florida, these things are, I think, very worthwhile. The MAGA people that we have, there's people there. There's this one guy, I think he's the lieutenant governor of North Carolina.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this guy before.
No,
he came out, and there are a bunch of others. And, there's certain like Republican MAGA people that are household names like Carrie Lake and Ron DeSantis and Kristi Noem and a handful of others. And then there's some ones that you don't know as well, like Tudor Dixon's. But there are dozens of others that none of us have ever heard of at different state and local levels that are amazing. And the media are not covering this because they don't want us to know how successful Donald Trump has been. Now, as of now, tomorrow there are more primaries, and then we got more primaries next week, which is Liz Cheney's as a week from tomorrow.
Oh, man.
I can't wait.
That is
I'm not going to be able to go
amazing.
to bed at night. I'm going to have a hard time.
He's not going to go to Wyoming this weekend, which he should.
But
I really wish he would.
But right now, as of this moment, Trump has 188 primary victories. 188 primary victories, 14 losses.
But the most
That's
important
an amazing
thing,
record.
Now, a lot of Democrats, in fact, they had a guy who lost, who was on Face the Nation yesterday, was blaming the Democrats for funneling money into the MAGA candidates because they've convinced themselves that they can beat these MAGA candidates. So it's great that they're winning primaries, but we need to win the elections. You guys have to go out and vote.
That's for sure.
In the elections. Don't rest on your laurels and have a sense of comfort here. It is very, very important. Primaries are good, but they're not elections. We have to, it's the first step, but we got to get Carrie Lake in the office. We got to get these people, Tudor Dixon, actually elected. I mean, can you imagine if just they elect Tudor Dixon and Carrie Lake? That's Arizona and Michigan. And like I've said, getting the right governors in is very important for Trump when he runs again in 2024. And you guys know what I mean. It's very important. So it's important to get these people elected, talk to your friends, make sure your family members, they all go vote, as long as they vote Republican, of course.
Yeah.
And just, make sure that you don't just assume that they're going to win. Even, I think too, a lot of times you talk about how polls are skewed. I think a lot of times what might happen is with liberals and the media is they might also add numbers to a Republican to make people think that they're going to win, so you don't need to bother going and voting.
That's true.
There's a lot of manipulation with polls.
Yeah.
So you got to ignore that because they might say, well, Carrie Lake's 20 points ahead, and people might think, well, then I don't need to go out. I'm hot. I'm tired. Don't listen to those polls. Vote no matter what.
Don't listen.
They're manipulating.
No, that's true. Don't listen to the polls. And I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. And, those of you that are Patreon supporters, over the weekend, Kathy and I did a podcast episode just for Patreon supporters. No one else will hear it but our Patreon supporters. And it is on our Patreon page, okay? And if you are a Patreon supporter already, the Patreon page – it kind of looks like a Facebook page, the Patreon page, and we post like yesterday we did a podcast episode just for Patreon supporters, a Patreon supporter only podcast. It is there. Each episode of our regular podcast is uploaded commercial free for Patreon supporters, and it's all done on the Patreon page. And all Patreon supporters get access to the extra episodes, the Patreon-only episodes, and the commercial-free episodes that we offer. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you on every show. And also, the top Patreon supporters get their names listed in the description of all the podcast episodes as a bit of a thank you as well. And it's kind of like you're in the credits, but you're in the description of it. So if you're a Patreon supporter and you're listening on one of the podcast platforms or on YouTube, look in the description and you'll see your name. So the following names are our top Patreon supporters that we very much want to thank for their support. Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, and Le Paul. Thank you so much for your support, everyone. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the description of this and every episode to our Patreon page. You go there, and it'll walk you through everything. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome to the Book of the Century, Script 3, by the explosively hot new author, Quincy Bradshaw. What do you think love means today? This generation is trying to take that thought away. So this new sensational masterpiece wants to set the record straight, calling all the kings and queens who are in need of a new guidance to read. Change is necessary, said the script. People didn't even notice the dramatic changes that were needed in relationships. Men and women need a new guideline to look up to. Here is your chance to give the future stars its prize proper romance. 10 stars, but they will glow in each of these chapters. We have all been given eyes, so we must focus in on the biggest prize. That is what you will find once you have developed the mind that is set up in the storyline. The Script 3 ebook by explosively hot new author Quincy Bradshaw. Available now on Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, Kobo Books, and Scribed. Life insurance helps life's critical moments live on, whether it pays the mortgage, maintains a current standard of living, or pays off debts. The life insurance you choose today can be there when your family needs it the most tomorrow. Don't just get coverage, get advice from LifePolicyHub.com. Their HIPAA-compliant technology allows LifePolicyHub.com to protect your family in a matter of minutes. There's no medical exam required with A+ rated carriers. If you're getting married, having a child, buying a home, taking on more debt, starting a business, planning for retirement, or end of life, you need to think about life insurance. You can get started right now by visiting LifePolicyHub.com or call them directly 845-237-0034. 845-237-0034. From author Christian Rhodes comes your next must-read book, The Book of Wonders, the first book in the Casey Tresser's Fairy Tale Odyssey book series. After reuniting with his long-lost baby sister, 16-year-old teenage gaming YouTube star Casey Tresser discovers he comes from a fairy tale video game and finds an opportunity to reunite with his long-lost family through the game when he's moved from his home to a small town in Paris, France, but only to discover that the town where his family have taken refuge in is now being plagued by organized criminals who so happen to be an evil army of demons out to kill him to prevent a prophecy the teenager is a part of. The Book of Wonders from author Christian Rhodes is available on Wattpad. You can read it as it's being written. This is a fantasy sci-fi novel that's heavy on mystery. Check it out right now. Go to Wattpad.com and search for The Book of Wonders from author Christian Rhodes. And visit the website CaseyTresser.com and sign up for updates.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. And of course, make sure that you follow and subscribe on whatever platform you are listening to us on. So Greg Abbott started, I don't know when, a month or two ago, busing illegal immigrants from Texas to Washington, D.C. and New York City. And I remember watching the first busloads unload people in Washington, and the media are like, oh, what's the big deal? It's just symbolic. It's not doing anything. And now here we are. Yeah.
Well, and Eric Adams is really upset.
Oh.
Because this is interrupting his late night party schedule, apparently. New York Eric Adams blasted Abbott on Sunday after a second bus full of illegal migrants arrived at his doorstep. Adams gave a news conference Sunday morning at the Port Authority where he greeted an incoming bus of 40 people.
Oh.
14 disembarked. That's it.
Where did the rest go, I wonder?
This is horrific when you think about what the governor is doing, noting that many of the arriving families did not realize they were coming to New York City. I don't believe that for a second. We're finding that some of the families are on the bus that wanted to go to other locations. I don't believe a word he's saying. Here's the deal. He's upset over 2 busloads, and they didn't even all leave the bus. They went somewhere else. They are dealing with hundreds of thousands, at least millions of illegals.
500,000 minimum.
Coming into Texas. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. But this guy gets 2 buses of 40 people, and he's losing his mind.
Yeah, and the mayor in D.C. wants the National Guard. And, you know, the thing is, the D.C. mayor and the New York mayor are having meltdowns over this. Both D.C. and New York are so-called sanctuary cities.
That's right.
It's easy to be a sanctuary city when no one's coming there asking for sanctuary.
Well, liberals
now that they're doing it, they're upset.
Exactly. Liberals don't care about anything until it happens to them, and then they still don't care. So I think it's a great thing Abbott is doing. I think it's a genius move, sending these people to other parts. Why not? I mean, why should he have to deal with all this? You know, they're letting everybody, let these people put some pressure. Of course, they're putting pressure on the wrong person. Their ire should not be directed towards Abbott. It should be directed towards Biden for letting all these people in with the drugs.
No doubt.
They said on Fox this morning, I was just flipping through, and they said that before the show that they got 1 million pills. I don't know if that was recent because I tried to find that story, but they recovered 1 million fentanyl pills in a recent bust. That is incredible to me. And one of the shipments I read online today was headed for Canada. So this is affecting Canada as well, not just us.
Well,
a shipment of fentanyl pills.
Let me get to that in a second. This thing with the buses, sending the people there, okay?
Well, the drugs are coming through with the illegals.
It's very easy for Eric Adams and the mayor of D.C. to say, let them all in as long as they're not going there. The minute they get a couple dozen, they're flipping out. And Abbott doesn't kidnap these people. They ask them if they want to go to New York or D.C., and if they say no, they can't get on the bus. But this thing about the drugs, see, obviously the migration of the illegals across the southern border serves many purposes. But the main purpose of it, these are drug mules. This is the new drug trafficking. It used to be they would fly things at low levels and over Florida and all this stuff. And the entire drug trade, prescriptions and other types of drugs is all coming through here.
I guess Biden wants to make sure that Hunter gets his stash.
Well, that's one thing. He doesn't want to be hit by inflation or the illegal drug prices.
I mean,
and the hooker prices.
It's really, what Democrats what they like to do is have a distraction. And they want you to focus on one thing when something else is really what's going on. And I believe they hate this country. And I believe that the Democratic politicians want to destroy this country because they want complete control. And if they have everybody hooked on drugs and not learning anything in schools and they make you stupid, that they can have more control over your life. Well, I think that's their interest in this.
We know that Democrats only do everything they do to enrich themselves and their donors.
And to control others.
So why are they bringing all these drugs in? Can you think, why are they allowing it? Just based on that, it should be.
You got to ask yourself
the border should be shut down
because
they are
allowing
drugs.
it. They are allowing it to happen. And you have to ask yourself,
that's right.
Why are they not stopping this? What is their reasoning? It's not that they're incompetent. That's partly true, but that's also
they know what they're doing.
An easy cop out.
They know what
for
they're
them. Doing. They know what they're doing. They're doing nothing, and they're doing nothing is doing something.
And you know what? I'll tell you this thing: the government, in effect, is bringing all these drugs into the country. The federal government. And I remember in the 80s and 90s, a lot of liberal blacks would talk about how the CIA brought crack into the
a lot of people still say that.
And I thought that was crazy. I thought that was, come on. And now I'm looking at what's going on at the southern border, and maybe the federal government did start the crack epidemic. Maybe they were right.
Didn't you tell me
look what they're doing now?
They were giving drugs to the soldiers too?
Well, that's not in the United States. That's a little different.
No, but still they were American soldiers, and I've heard in many movies and books and people and documentaries that they gave them drugs.
I'm a very
they like people drugged up. They can control them better.
Very anti-drug person. Yeah. I don't even take antibiotics unless I'm on death's door and I have to. I mean, I don't take. Now, I was drinking a martini on my live stream on YouTube over the weekend. But that's I'm not in Hunter Biden territory. But no, there's the largest drug trafficking operation is taking place right now at the U.S. southern border.
Not only drug trafficking, sex trafficking.
And it's being done by the federal government.
Sex trafficking as well.
Yeah.
They interviewed one guy on the news who was an illegal coming across, and he came from Guatemala or Honduras or something, and he was talking about how horrific it was, and he saw women and children getting raped throughout his journey many times, that it's extremely common.
That's right.
But, we know liberals don't care about people. And I don't understand why liberals voters support this group. They have always used people since the time of slavery.
And they always will.
And they always will. They're
Democrats.
Not people to them, okay? We are cattle and we are sheep, and we're feeding the matrix for these people. They don't give a damn about us. Well, they tell you they do, but look at their actions, not their words.
Now, I want to talk for a minute here about this grooming business that's going on with Disney. Kathy and I watched something over the weekend, and I was a little confused as to how this happened. And then you had a explanation. So let me walk you guys through this.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Disney has gone completely wackadoodle with this gay grooming thing. And there's a big change going on in Hollywood. You may have seen this story that this lesbian, woke Batgirl movie the studio stopped filming in the middle of production, and they said it could damage the brand, the Batgirl brand. And what has happened, there has been a big shift in Hollywood the last 6 weeks or so because of the Top Gun Maverick movie. After this weekend, Top Gun Maverick is now the third highest grossing U.S. film of all time.
Wait till it goes on video. We'll rent it. It'll make even more money.
Yeah, when it comes on demand, we'll watch it. I mean, it must be good. Everyone's like,
oh yeah, I love Tom Cruise.
And the thing about I've not seen the Top Gun Maverick yet. We'll see it when it comes on demand. But usually a movie like this comes out, it'll already be on demand, but it's making so much money in theaters. They're keeping it in theaters longer. But here's the thing. This movie is a hit, not so much because of Tom Cruise, that's part of it, but because it's about a man, like a real man, right? Not some feminized version.
There's no woke agenda in this movie.
Well, this movie was made a few years ago before the big change in Hollywood, before COVID and things got really woke. I've talked about this before, if they made Top Gun Maverick today, the lead would be a black female fighter pilot, and Tom Cruise would be a supporting actor in his own movie.
You're right. So what's with Disney? What happened?
I'm getting to it. So this Batgirl movie was canceled because they're seeing how successful Top Gun Maverick is, and these woke movies where every character is a female and all this stuff, and there's no men, and the men are feminized and all this stuff.
Well, and there's no story.
They're halting production on these.
Yeah. There
are a few things that are still coming out that were made in this woke, feminized Hollywood era. Okay, but that whole era is stopping. Right now out in Hollywood, I promise you, they're making movies, and they've just greenlit movies that are about like real tough guys, like the Top Gun Maverick. Okay,
well, and that Chris Pratt show on Amazon is like, I remember when it just came out. There's a real movement against Chris Pratt for like he's Christian, because he's a Christian white male basically, and the left have tried to make him like the embodiment of toxic masculinity, which he's not. But he's got a new show out on Amazon. And it's like a tough guy with, it's kind of like an 80s type, Rambo type thing. And the left immediately tried to dismiss it, that it's misogynistic, it's this, it's that. Well, it's the number one downloaded show. And people Hollywood, like you said, is realizing that's what's making money.
People want to see real men.
That's well, and they're tired of the political stuff.
That's right. So over the weekend, though, we watched. Getting back to the Disney grooming, Kathy and I watched the Buzz Lightyear movie, Lightyear. And the reason we watched it is I wanted to be able to talk about it because there was a lot of talk that it's a grooming movie because there's a lesbian kiss, and a lot of people upset. And then like the woke people like, oh, it's just this one scene, it's just a kiss, it's nothing.
Just one thing.
So we watched the movie, and let me tell you what happened. And I couldn't understand how this happened. And then Kathy, you had an explanation.
I always do.
Okay, and this Lightyear movie about Buzz Lightyear is grooming, textbook example of grooming, and is very inappropriate, and your children should not watch it.
Oh, I remember what you're talking about.
And I'll tell you why. Now, the way it happens, I'll just give you some backstory so you can understand this. It's important to understand. The movie Lightyear is based on the Toy Story character Buzz Lightyear, and the Buzz Lightyear, I don't know too much about Toy Story, but Buzz Lightyear, the toy, is based on a movie character, and this is supposed to be the movie that the toy was based on. Okay,
right.
So in the movie, Buzz Lightyear and some humans from Earth get marooned and they get shipwrecked on another planet, and because this movie was made in the woke Disney era, Buzz Lightyear is not the captain of the ship; it's a black woman. Because a black woman's the captain of everything now, right?
Star Trek and
everything, Star Wars, everything, the Obi-Wan show. So anyway, it involves a little bit of time travel, and you see the female lead to Buzz Lightyear throughout the movie, and she's pregnant. The next thing you see, she's pregnant. She's married to a woman, and they have a child, and it takes place many years later. And the woman's grandchild is with Buzz Lightyear. And I was telling Kathy, I said, wait a minute. They're marooned on a planet. She's a lesbian. She's got this female wife partner, right? Mm-hmm. How'd she get pregnant? They're marooned on this planet. There's no adoption agency, and she's actually pregnant.
And there's no artificial insemination center.
And I couldn't figure this out. And I know this sounds ridiculous, and I'm trying to figure it out. I said, I don't. And it was like the next day. We watched it. We watched it on Friday. Yeah. And Saturday, I was still saying to Kathy, I said, I just don't understand.
On this maroon planet.
How did this lesbian woman get pregnant and have a baby with her lesbian partner? And then you said, her partner's not lesbian. She's trans.
Right.
And I was like,
that's what
oh, my goodness. You're right. So they don't explicitly say it.
No, but it's
But
implied.
How else did she get pregnant?
It's implied.
Unless Buzz Lightyear got her pregnant and he wasn't around.
What they like to do is plant little tiny seeds in these little tiny
it's worse than we thought.
Minds.
It's not a same-sex lesbian kiss in Lightyear. It's a transgender marriage where a biological male who lives as a woman impregnated his wife, and they call each other lesbians.
But are you really a lesbian if you're having sex with
this new thing? You're
anatomical man.
It seems
How are you a lesbian if you're having sex with a guy?
So they have a transgender cartoon character who impregnated another one. I mean, what are they showing children?
Well, we know what they're showing.
What are they showing children? I mean, it's insane what they're doing.
Yeah.
And the movie, luckily the movie's not that good. And
no, it's not that good at all. It's kind of boring.
If you go on Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of the viewers don't like it and everything. So, critics can promote it all they want. Yeah. But maybe I'm just too old fashioned and didn't get it. But when you said
too normal.
When you said no, they're not lesbians, that's like a Leah Thomas character, the swimmer.
Right.
I was like, you know what? You're right.
But are you If you're married to Caitlyn Jenner and you're a woman who still has all his male down below, and you're a woman and you're having sex, which is a horrifying thought, with Caitlyn.
Oh my goodness.
Are you a lesbian?
No.
Because you're having
not by my definition.
Sex. You're technically having, so it's all crazy.
It's really,
I don't even want to go there.
It's really weird
But no, that's what's happening. Because at first I didn't understand what you were saying. Yeah, and I said because
how'd she get pregnant?
I was kind of half paying attention to the movie, and
they're
I said,
marooned
well,
on
she
a planet.
obviously got artificially inseminated, and you're like, no, they're on a marooned planet. There's no artificial insemination.
There's no adoption agency. There's no.
And I said,
vitro.
and then I thought about it for 10 minutes. I said, well, obviously her partner is really a man.
Yeah, the trans character. Yeah,
because kids might not put that together. Because I didn't.
I think kids would probably put it together.
But what it does is it gives What it does is it plants a little seed. And it gives parents an opening if they want to take it to talk about it.
Well, kids will ask.
Exactly.
Because like
kids
I was
might
asking,
say, Mommy, how did this happen? And if a parent wants to take that moment,
they'll tell them.
They'll tell them.
Well, it's a biological man, born a man, but lives as a woman now. That's Leah Thomas.
Yeah.
They're transgender. That's exactly what that's about.
I just don't. If you guys can explain to me, how are you a lesbian if you're having sex with Leah Thomas? He's a man.
Yeah.
That's not.
Yeah.
Lesbians, from what I always understood, are not into that.
Well, listen, if you guys have Disney Plus, which I know most of you probably don't, but
they're not going to watch it.
It's Lightyear.
Just take our word for it.
And if you think we're wrong about it, and you have another explanation as to how this pregnancy happened in this cartoon, I'd love to hear it. All right, listen, we're going to take a break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere, all right? We'll be back right after this.
Are you looking for peace in your life? Do you feel isolated and afraid at times? The book from author David Hoffmeister, This Moment is Your Miracle, may be the book to get you back on track. Author David Hoffmeister is a world-renowned teacher of A Course in Miracles. This book reveals the profound power of the present moment and shows readers how tapping into it using practical insights and simple exercises can fortify your spirit against fear, break down perceived limitations, and your sense of separation. It can help you manifest a life of joy, oneness, and serenity. Inside This Moment is Your Miracle, you will find spiritual practices and tools to help you awaken from the nightmare of fear and isolation. Discover practical ways to cultivate acceptance, forgiveness, healing, and trust for healing yourself, your relationship, and the world. With this must-read and life-changing book as your guide, you'll learn how to trust your inner guidance, as well as find true freedom and peace of mind. There has never been a better time than right now. Order your copy on Amazon. This Moment is Your Miracle. From author David Hoffmeister. Thinking of buying a new mattress? Don't! Go right now to MyPillow.com and order your 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for 50% off. But you've got to use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout at MyPillow.com. This is the lowest price ever. It comes in all mattress sizes, from twin all the way up to California King, and every size in between. Go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code KANE, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Nothing is better than shopping, other than shopping for a good cause. The store, TruePinkEagle.com, wants to sell you amazing items that you will love while helping fight breast cancer. In fact, with every purchase at TruePinkEagle.com, money will be donated to breast cancer patients to help them fight this horrible disease. TruePinkEagle.com carries streetwear that's stylish, modern, and comfortable, as well as makeup, accessories, aromatherapy oil, and a whole lot more. With your help, they can make a significant contribution to various cancer societies, both locally and internationally. Start shopping today by purchasing one of their top quality lip glosses from the store. TruePinkEagle.com. That's TruePinkEagle.com.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Kathy with Brian. And I wanted to continue with this thing with Chris Pratt, because there's been an article or a review written by TV List.
This is the TV series that he has that's on Amazon.
Yeah, it's called Terminal List. And the left, like I said before the break, really are out to destroy Chris Pratt. He has become the embodiment of conservative white male toxic masculinity to them, all because he posted on Instagram a while ago something about his wife and how she takes care of him and all this stuff, and all of a sudden he's this bad guy. So it says here, this is the article. Chris Pratt's Navy SEAL character, James Reese, is described as someone who's built to take a kick in the head. Those words could easily describe this series too, although maybe it's taken a few too many kicks to the head already. A brutally violent and deadly serious military drama / revenge thriller. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
The Terminal List is like The Fugitive meets SEAL Team. Wow, that sounds good. Meets a Don't Tread on Me truck decal, with all the delicacy and nuance that implies it's punishingly grim, hopelessly boneheaded. But at least it's something new for the Amazon algorithm to recommend to your dad after he's done watching Jack Ryan. Pratt's Reese is a Navy SEAL commander whose entire platoon gets wiped, blah, blah, blah. And then I want to get to where it talks about this. It's a pretty basic setup for a paranoid conspiracy thriller, but the scripts from showrunner based on the Jack Carr novel are woefully short. The dialogue is generic. I want to get to where they talk about how it's
toxic masculinity.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah. It's a long article, so I'm sorry. Bear with me here. I'm trying to get to that part.
Men are coming back in Hollywood. And Chris Pratt.
I can't get. all of a sudden, I can't read that part where it talks about that.
That's okay. We got it.
It said it was for. It said it's basically that it's because I saw the excerpt. It said that it's basically for red meat eating men who and it said there's too many American flags.
Oh my
in the
goodness.
show. Too many American flags.
Too many American flags.
It's too pro-American.
Oh.
It's too white male. It's too this. But meanwhile, it's like their number 1 or number 2 downloaded show of all time.
On the planet. It's got over 1 billion downloads.
Over 1 billion downloads. That's true.
This is what's crazy. Really with the Democrats. When I was younger and I was first starting out in this business, I used to hear conservatives, like Republicans back then, talk about the hate America first crowd with the left. And that never made sense to me because I'm like, come on, they're liberal and all that, but do they really hate America? And the answer is yes, they do.
Yeah.
And, liberals in this country are so spoiled, they don't know how good we got it.
No.
They
just hate white men. There's a real hatred on white men that are alpha males.
That's right.
They're really upset about this. And what they're really upset about is these shows and these movies are box office gold, and they see they're losing their grip on Hollywood now. It's going back to what makes money, and they can't handle it.
These snowflakes are so spoiled. A month or two ago, when they had that World Economic Forum, and Jack Posobiec went over there. Mm-hmm. Jack Posobiec went over there with a lot of young influencer types, right? And they ran into trouble with the law. They ran into trouble with the World Economic Forum police, which I couldn't believe they had their own police force. And it was in Switzerland. So they had problems with the World Economic Forum police and the Swiss police. And you may have seen this video. If not, go and look for it because it's very telling. And it's not about the World Economic Forum. It's about how free we are. So Jack Posobiec and a bunch of young Turning Point USA people are out on some sidewalk cafe in Switzerland. And they're out there vlogging and making videos and talking out in public and on the sidewalk. And the World Economic Forum police show up and some Swiss police detectives show up. And they tell them not only to stop filming, but to delete everything they filmed. And then they want to look at their devices and make sure that they deleted it. And one of them says, well, we're on a public street. What's the big? And the Swiss detective says, it was a woman. She's the Swiss detective. She says, in Switzerland, we have a right to not be filmed. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be filmed. I did not give you permission. You must delete that and show me your device to make sure you delete. And they were like, what? This country that they hate so much, there's too many American flags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the freest place in the history of humanity, even still today.
Don't you understand?
And they hate it.
That's the problem. That's why they hate it. They don't like it being so free. They don't want you to have they want to be like Switzerland. They want you to be pulled over by the police while you're eating lunch for recording. Yeah. That's what's bothering them so much is the freedom.
Well, go live in Switzerland.
They want to take our freedoms away, and they want to reinstate them on their terms. That's what they want to do. They want to dismantle the entire system, and this is what George Soros and all of them are about. They want to dismantle the system.
That's right.
So it can rise up through the ashes like a phoenix, like a rainbow phoenix that they create. That's what they want to do.
Well, you know,
anything that's male or white men,
or red, white,
Hollywood
blue.
is very anti-white male right now. And the fact that these shows and movies with white male leads that are tough and can kick ass.
It's awesome.
It's driving them nuts.
It's awesome. It's awesome. America's back.
I mean, they want America to embrace a male lead that's like a black trans / gay with boobs and a penis. Yeah. They want us to embrace that and be like, wow, this is a hero. And the fact that Chris Pratt is this good-looking, built white guy who's married to a Kennedy, it's driving him up a wall.
You know, they want every leading person in any film or television show to be the crying game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They want
that's what they want.
Well, the crying game really doesn't make trans people look good. That's why they wouldn't remake that one.
I saw that in the theater. Everyone was talking about
that.
It.
Wouldn't even be shocking now. Remember how shocking that was?
It's like boring now.
Now, when they found out that she was a he, and it was like the big surprise.
The big reveal.
It was all over the news. The big surprise. And now people be yawning.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's the lead of everything. That's just the swim meet.
That's everyday stuff. Right.
That's
now.
Everything.
That's kid stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, if you have Amazon Prime, which we have, we're going to start watching the show because I've read all about it and I like Chris Pratt. But the left are really trying to destroy him in his career. And his father-in-law is another, of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I guess he's white. Yeah, he's Austrian. He's another toxic masculine.
Well, his dad was a Nazi.
Yeah, so they're like the Aryans. And he's like another toxic masculinity representative. So it's got to be an interesting dynamic in the home because Schwarzenegger's a little woke and he is in with the Kennedys, but they do these tough action guy movies, which are going against the Hollywood grain. But there's a shift now in Hollywood. And the reason these critics are freaking out is they see the tide turning back.
Well, you know what it is?
They can't
It's about, show business is a business with emphasis on business. And they're seeing what is good for making money. And what's good for making money is realism. You can't have a female, lesbian, transgendered minority as the lead in every show.
Well, I think what happened, too, with Top Gun is Hollywood started to assume that movies were dead. And they started to assume that across the board, people are not going to the movies anymore. Yeah. And then you had this movie come out which was pro-American, pro-man, a lead, a toxic masculinity, whatever you want to call it, lead. And it's made billions of dollars. And they're like, wow, people still do want to go to the movies. We're just not putting out the right movies.
That's right.
We're putting out crap.
That's
so it was like a referendum on Hollywood that it's not that people aren't going to the movies. It's they're putting out garbage that nobody wants to see.
Well,
and I think they're finally waking up to this reality.
I saw, this is many years ago. What was that movie with Michelle Pfeiffer where she was the teacher in a black school? Remember this?
Saw that. Dangerous Minds?
Dangerous Minds. Okay.
Yeah, I remember they had a song about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Good song.
I saw when Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer is common in many movies, okay? She's a white woman who's a school teacher, like at a minority school.
Yeah, the Great White Hope.
And all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I saw, of all people, Alyssa Milano talking about that movie back then before she got all politically involved. And somebody had asked about why it's always got to be a white. And Alyssa Milano, this is before she got woke.
Didn't they see Stand and Deliver?
Yeah, she gave a good answer. She says it's about getting as many people into the theater as possible. And if you have a racially diverse, if you have like a white lead and then a black cast, you'll get white people and black people into
What
the
about
movie.
Sister Act?
Yeah.
That was a black woman going into a inner city neighborhood.
So the reason,
Stand and Deliver.
the reason they do this kind of thing is to try to get more people. You know,
plus she's a big star.
What's happened with the left, and you even see this in politics, what's going on with the Democrats. The Democrats have completely destroyed their party. This Democrat Party, as we know it, is about to cease to exist. It's about to collapse.
So is the Republican Party.
Well, it's been becoming the MAGA Party. But the Democrats have gotten so leftist and so woke. And the only agenda they've had is to get these bills passed so they can pay back the donors, like this thing they passed over the weekend.
That's right. That's all he's done is spend money.
And they've done nothing. They've done nothing except spend money to pay back the donors. Yep. Everyone sees it. And they have all these wokesters pushing for all this woke business. And it's beautiful. You know, the thing about the Democrats, the thing about liberals is there's no boundaries with liberals. They never stop. They always want more, and they keep pushing. They've gone so far, and whether it's Hollywood like we're talking about or
they've
politics,
gone too far.
They've alienated most of the country.
They've gone so far, they've got Bill Maher sounding like a conservative.
That's right.
That's how far they've gone. Yeah. He's attacking them every week. I just put up on your shorts, he did a thing attacking parents who promote transgender surgeries and stuff in their kids. Course. And he was saying how all kids go through phases. He said it's part of being a kid.
Yeah.
And he said it doesn't mean you cut off their privates and put boobs on them because they feel like a boy for 5 minutes. I mean, look at Demi Lovato. Now she's a girl again. It's ridiculous. So they're so far to the left that even he sounds like he's part of MAGA.
Well, I think it's awesome. Yeah. You know, there's some tough times going on right now, and I understand, and I feel them too. But, you know, you always got to try to take the positive out of it. And the positive is that the left have destroyed themselves. They don't have the sense to see it.
Yeah.
They've got
they don't. They can't help it.
They've got these senile old coots that are running their party, Biden and Pelosi. And they're just so checked out. They don't even know what the heck's going on. No. And, you know, that's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, no,
it is. And, you know, we're just a few months away from the election in November. We're not going to win everything, but we're going to win enough. And then we're going to have 24, and we're going to win a lot more. This is going to be a red tsunami. We're going to have 2 red tsunamis.
But like I said, make sure you vote.
It's very important.
Don't listen to the polls. Go out and vote.
Never believe the polls. Never listen to the polls.
They're always used to manipulate people.
That's right. Now, listen, everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Thanks so much. And make sure that you subscribe and follow on whatever platform you listen to us on. All right. We will talk to you next time.